for Modi, nation comes first. For BJP, RSS, nation comes first. So anything that is important for the nation will be done, even if it costs them seat, even if it costs them the government. But to say that we are totally different, the kind of views being expressed now, that because there is one of the founder of Golden Temple was a Sufi, does not mean that our roots lie somewhere else. Punjabi PRs came from all the corners of Bharat.
All the corners
they
of the
not
country,
Punjabis.
Yes. Jamnagar.
Only one was Punjab.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, Hindus, their elder son used to be made Sikh as a tribute to gurus.
Right.
So there is no sense of separatism at that. खून और चमड़ी का जैसा रिश्ता होता है, ऐसा सिख और हिंदू का रिश्ता है. They cannot be separated.
Right. Welcome friends to this series of podcasts on Republic Network, in which we try to untangle the web on issues that sometimes concern you, sometimes are distant but still are relevant. And so today we are discussing Khalistan 2.0. Why suddenly or of late we are seeing so much news around Khalistani activism, much of it outside India, in places like Canada, London, Australia, San Francisco in United States, some of it in India also. And the reason why we are discussing that is because we have a guest, and our speaker today, Mr. Ratan Sharda. He is an RSS thinker and researcher. He has written a couple of books concerning the organization, and the most famous one, of course, was
RSS 360.
RSS 360.
But I've written 7 books actually.
7 books and
translated in 5 languages.
In 5 languages. And the recent one was RSS's conflict resolution way, and with a focus on how RSS has intervened in Northeast,
Jammu Kashmir and Punjab.
Jammu Kashmir and Punjab. So Punjab bit, and because Khalistan is making news, so we thought let's focus on Khalistan this time, and maybe we'll come to other issues later.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting conversation. Let's begin with why everything goes to places like Toronto and other places in Canada or the west coast of United States. Mr. Ratan Sharda, my understanding is that it goes back to the Gadar movement, which was the first organized rebellion against the empire, and those were expat Indians outside India trying to take on the British Empire, and many of them were in the United States and the United Kingdom, England at that time, right. And a great number of them happened to be Punjabis.
Right.
And so the British thought that this is a threat, and the intelligence agencies at that time, both the British and American agencies, came together to infiltrate this Gadar movement and to break it. They inculcated or indoctrinated or injected this element of separatism, as the theory goes, and that's how the Khalistan movement sort of took its roots. Maybe it blossomed later, and we also contributed by some mistakes that were made in 60s, 70s and 80s, which we'll discuss. But that's the origin of Khalistan movement, you think?
See, freedom movement was not the origin of Khalistani movement, but the injection, as you rightly put out, inserting a person like Macauliffe, who was a British servant, then he retired and he went into study of Sikhi. That was real dedication of that person. He learned Gurumukhi, then he reinterpreted all the scriptures of Sikh religion, translated them, wrote the history. So he wrote it from the perspective of British. So his entire effort was that Sikhi is not part of a larger Hindu framework, it is a separate religion, and not only that, he reinterpreted many of the things which were written in the scriptures, and he created a kind of, he laid the seed of this separatism by saying the Sikhs are different. Then that book was picked up by Khan Singh Nabha, who wrote the book Why I Am Not a Hindu, and that's laid that seed that we are a separate identity, nothing to do with the mainstream Hindu dharma. And Sanatan, or whatever you call it, they forgot what Maharaja Ranjit Singh's stand was, they forgot what Guru Gobind Singh ji said. Now this was used as the base for launch, and then in fact a very senior Congress leader told me that during when they lost the Khalistan 1.0, the Pakistanis said that we lost it because we could not create a difference between Hindus and Sikhs. We were not able to create a kind of schism in them.
This was when?
This was after the failure of Khalistan 1.0 in 90s, early 90s. They said now we will work on that. So the same thread was picked up. See, Master Tara Singh was in between during the time he wanted a separate Sikh state also, because Muslims had a Sikh state, but he was thorough patriot and he came with Bharat and all that. He suffered a lot, his village was burnt, but during this time they worked very hard on the intellectual capital of Sikhi. So, they rewrote the history, picking up Khan Singh Nabha, picking up McAuliffe, and also reinterpreting the the scriptures.
So, let's just sort of structure this. What you are saying is that an artificial attempt was made to separate Sikhism. Now, it is interesting that you say it, because when you read the Guru Granth Sahib, when you read the other Sikh literature, and you look at the lives and times of the Gurus, number one, what comes out is that it is not just limited to Punjab. It was almost like an all India, all of northwest India region religion.
Punjab PRs came from all the corners of Bharat.
All the corners
They
of the
were not
country.
Punjabis.
Yes. Jamnagar.
Only one was Punjab.
Yes. And Jamnagar, Bihar, and so yes, you are right. And then the literature itself is inclusivist literature, essentially bhakti literature, drawing from that period.
Even Vedic thoughts.
Saints. And Vedic thoughts.
If you look at the way Guru Nanak Dev describes time, describes universe, it is just like the Vedas describe.
Yeah. So, this injection of separatism by McAuliffe and subsequently picked up by other forces has led to this separate identity. But I would say that this is an RSS interpretation, and that's what they say कि ये तो RSS वाले करते हैं, हम तो अलग ही.
नहीं, हम तो मानते हैं identity की अलग है. We say you have a separate identity, you are an offshoot of Vedic dharma, you are not offshoot of any other dharma, because the root ideas. I wrote a book on Guru Nanak Dev, where there is one chapter which specifically points out the thoughts which Guru Nanak Dev speaks of, and which are similar to the views expressed in Vedic thoughts, same kind of shloka, same kind of interpretation. So, basically inspiration comes from the Vedic thoughts. He was only against the kind of ritualism like many other reformers, and about casteism, about place of women, etc., and he worked on that. So, it was a reformist movement when he started, and it was bhakti movement, but also reformist movement. It became a kind of martial movement later in the year when the Mughals kept on attacking them. So, RSS is not saying that you are Hindus, we are saying your roots are Hindu, your inspiration of the Granthas come from Vedas and Hindu scriptures, and they have picked up various other thoughts also. They will say, okay, there are Sufis also, very few, because Guru Nanak Dev probably did not want the converted Sikhs, converted Muslims to go away from the mainstream. But did he quote from Quran? No. Did he quote Muhammad? No. Did he revere him? No. Did he pick up from Bible or Jesus? No. Because he went to Mecca all the way. He had debates there, but did he pick up any of those things? No. He picked up some of the Sufi thoughts, but his entire thought is basically based on Vedic thoughts, and it has become separate religion just like Jains and Sikh, Buddhism, fine. But to say that we are totally different, the kind of views being expressed now, that because there is one of the founder of Golden Temple was a Sufi, does not mean that our roots lie somewhere else. That is where the quarrel is, not with the separate identity of Sikhs, because we respect that. And see, basically when did the word Singh come? Guru Gobind Singh. He was the one who baptized these people, saying you are Khalsas, you are fighters, you are Singh, and Kaur is like Kumari from Rajasthan. So, the spirit of martial was what was part of Khalsa. Sikhi was, if you read the name of the Gurus, they were Rais, they were Das, etc. And if you read their entire scripture, now how they fine tune this. So, when Guru Granth Sahib says that these Mughals came, they destroyed temples and made a mosque, that interpretation in the new wiki of Sikhs is that temples are replaced by mosques. As if something just rose out of the ground. Slowly these meanings are being diluted, and we are surprised Dasham Granth is most of the places not being encouraged to be recited, which is the Granth written by Guru Gobind Singh. Some of the Vanis are not supposed to be anymore sung in the Gurdwaras by the Granthis.
Why?
Because that commonality between Hindus and Sikhs has to be somehow suppressed.
Who is doing this?
SGPC mainly and their supporters, or wherever Khalistan is strong, they see to it, then Gurdwara those are not sung. You will find some Granthis complaining about that, and some of the Guru Granth Sahib, some of the chapters are not read. In fact, are read, which is very controversial, that except Patan Sahib, the Dasham Granth, the Ugardanti, where he reveres Durga, is no more sung. It is no more there in the print copy. I may be questioned, but you can go and check. So, point is, this is the kind of thing that is being tried to remove the basic of very tight integration of Hindus, Sikhs, because my family has half of them, my bhabhi is a Sardar, my cousin has a Sardar family, my nephew has a Sardar family. This is never separate.
No.
In fact, Hindus, their elder son used to be made Sikh as a tribute to gurus.
Right.
So, there is no sense of separatism at that time.
No, I understood. So, let's take it to how this was sort of this indoctrination was sort of institutionalized, because you mentioned SGPC, Master Tara Singh, of course. We don't know whether what role British played in it, but maybe the Sikhs,
Master Tara Singh did not change.
Maybe the Sikhs thought that Hindus are getting one country,
Yeah.
Muslims are getting another country, so let's have our own demand, and that's how the Akali movement
See
really
how
started.
it deteriorated further. When Subhas were made, Punjabi Subha was the last one to be made. 53 में reconstitution शुरू हुआ, but Punjab was not given statehood even till 1966. And RSS, Shri Guruji, he was one of the earliest one who said, if every state can be made linguistic, why not Punjab? Why not give them right?
So, RSS was not actually antagonistic as it is presented.
Not at all. In fact, they scolded Arya Samaj when Arya Samaji leaders said that write your language as Hindi. Guruji reprimanded them. He told all the people, your mother tongue is Gurmukhi and you must be proud of it. Every regional language is a national language. So, don't make the mistake of putting a language as Hindi. That is the bitterness that was created because of Arya Samaj stance at that time, but RSS totally opposed. I put it in my book with the right references because people claim that RSS supported Hindi.
Okay.
It did not.
Okay. So, now let's come to
kind of mispropaganda has been
So, let's come to the mystics era from essentially from late 70s, and then we saw what happened in the 80s. Some say that Bhindranwale was actually a creation of the Congress party, more specifically the fight or jousting political fight that took place between Gyani Jail Singh and Darbara Singh and Indira Gandhi sort of took sides, and that's how Bhindranwale became what he became.
Now, before that another problem came when Akalis, after making Punjabi Suba, Akalis formed the government. Congress and Indira Gandhi never allowed them to rule peacefully. Their governments are broken again and again. That led to Anandpur Sahib resolution,
Yes.
which is the foundation of every separatism, whether Khalistani or separatism of even normal Sikhs, saying that we should have Sikhi and we should have primacy of this Gurmukhi, etc. Because of that resolution, that was a result of continuous attempt to dislodge Akalis.
Right.
That is where the seats actually are sowed.
True.
Then you come to Bhindranwale and all that.
Yes. So, that was 1973 Anandpur Sahib resolution, and then the 80s Bhindranwale, and we know what happened and the Congress party's role, which I mentioned. But what is important is that when we see now, there is nothing on the ground, right? You don't see a Khalistan movement in Punjab. You see Khalistan movement in Ottawa, in Toronto, in British Columbia, and we have this recent episode, and of course Australia and other places in Europe. But we saw this recent episode of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, because of which there is a diplomatic standoff between India and Canada, and India and United States also, in the case of that Pannu fellow.
Yeah, Pannu.
So, good that you mentioned Amritpal. So, while we are seeing a lot of activism outside India, within India there was nothing. Suddenly we saw this Amritpal Singh thing happening. But the difference between the manner in which Indira Gandhi handled Bhindranwale and the Modi Shah government, the Modi government has handled Amritpal Singh. You see this contrast, and do you see that this has happened because the RSS origin thinking that Prime Minister has, or the Union Home Minister has played a role in terms of making sure that this does not become a national security issue like it became that time?
See, for example, for BJP, being in the government in Punjab is not the primacy. In case of Congress, they wanted to control Punjab somehow. That is why they delayed the formation of the state. Then despite creating Punjab, they kept headache of Fazilka, Bohar, Chandigarh. So, things will keep on a boil and they can take advantage. That is not the idea of Modi. For Modi, nation comes first. For BJP, RSS, nation comes first. So, anything that is important for the nation will be done even if it costs them seat, even if it costs them the government. So, that is where the difference is.
So, how come it is that is the Congress party which did what it did, which led to the 80s crisis panning into 90s, and this is RSS BJP which says, no, the Guruji said that, as you mentioned, that Punjabi should be the language, Gurumukhi should be the script, and still RSS is seen some kind of villain.
See, it is
Who's
changed
doing
because-
that?
See, why it is happening, because RSS is not ready to let go the skin and nail kind of relation, as you say, this नाखून और चमड़ी का जैसा रिश्ता होता है, ऐसा सिख और हिंदू का रिश्ता है. They cannot be separated. Effort is to separate them, only then Khalistani movement can become strong, and that is being backed by people like Pakistan, and now also some of the Western powers, because who don't want to see India strong, they will keep on having some disturbances everywhere, some kind of agitation where your society cannot stabilize. So this urge of RSS to see to it that Hindu Sikhs don't separate, they don't become hateful to each other, that was tried in 80s also, that is being tried now. Unfortunately, honestly, I must admit that as today's youth of Sikh, because of last 30 years of hard effort put in by Khalistani elements, put in by people being supported by Pakistan, entire way the scriptures are being reinterpreted, the way narration is being created in your lecture, your speeches and all, these leaders. Today's Sikh youth feels not connected to Hindu society at all, honestly, and that is where the danger is. That is where I see situation of earlier Khalistan 1.0 a little bit more worrying than Khalistan 2.0, because in one there was no separatism, no separate feeling between Hindus and Sikhs. Okay, there used to be jousting, there used to be fun, teasing each other, but there was no risk, there was no fear. Now there is a youth which is
there is a disconnect.
Yes, there is a disconnect. They are not going against India. They have now this poison against RS is basically because we are one. Your religion may be different.
So how to solve
to
this?
follow the Pakistani path of creating separate feelings. So that is the risky part. But yes, Punjabis such know what has happened in 80s, 90s. So they are not falling for Khalistan. And these people who are talking of Khalistan, they will never come back. As I said in one of your programs in Republic TV, who have settled for life, whose sons and daughters and their grandchildren are going back to Canada and Australia or US, they are not interested in India at all.
Okay.
So how can they make Khalistan?
So how do we solve this problem?
Even that.
Last question: How do we make sure that the disconnect is not there? As I said, on the ground it's not visible; it's happening outside. But still, the poison, the attempt to inject the poison. How do we stop that?
See, Punjab is not a simple issue. I can tell you, Punjab is very complex issue because things have gone bad in so many areas. Whether you look at economy, whether you look at social structure, there is hardly any young boy in Punjab. Everybody wants to go out. So they sell their land. The UP walas and Bihar walas are going and working there. Local people are not working.
That's happening anywhere. Like migration happens to everywhere.
But
like
this
Bengaluru,
migration,
Hyderabad.
the spirit of Punjab, that hard working spirit. When you see the youth is not there, only old people are there. See, you will have bright engineers in Hyderabad and also in outside. But in Punjab, if you go there, you will find nearly entire generation, because every house, if you go, I go to my village and every house has somebody going outside, and there is no interest in the local society. That is the problem is, which is not the problem.
How to solve that?
Like in Kerala also.
How to solve that?
It has to work at various levels. For example, the entire economy of Punjab has to be re-looked into. Its farming economy, its structure of the way the gain is being put up. You see pesticides, salination, lack of water table going down, not right kind of income and no right kind of policies. Then even at the level of this separatism, we have to go back to the roots of Sikhi. We have to reproduce the very books which are written by the gurus and their historians, and present the original history of Sikhi, original history of the scripture, and also the true meanings of their scriptures, and also the history that actually existed, which are written by Bhai Gurdas and those people. When that comes out, when people read that, they realize that how the game is being played.
Right. So
that is how the emotional integration will come back.
Yeah. Hopefully that will be achieved, and the manner in which the present government has worked on the issue, particularly the Prime Minister, more and more people should see reason, and that should be our hope and prayer. On that note, thank you so much, friends, for joining us. Hope you got some idea about Khalistan movement, both Khalistan 1.0 and 2.0, and the manner in which earlier governments tackled it and the present one is dealing with it. Thank you so much.